In today's video, we're diving deep into the shifting electoral map for the upcoming 2024 presidential election, focusing on how the potential matchup between Kamala Harris and Donald Trump is shaping up. As we gear up for what promises to be one of the most pivotal elections in recent history, understanding the dynamics of key battleground states is crucial. Every vote will matter, and the stakes couldn't be higher as we analyze how each candidate needs to strategize to reach that magical number of 270 electoral votes. So, let's get into the nitty-gritty and explore the current projections and what they mean for both candidates as they head into this fiercely competitive election. First up is Virginia, a state that has historically leaned Democratic but is showing signs of being more competitive this time around. In the 2020 election, Joe Biden won Virginia by about 10 points, reinforcing its status as a blue state. However, current projections indicate that Kamala Harris may not enjoy such a comfortable lead. Instead of the 10-point margin Biden had, Harris's expected victory is likely to be around 5 points. This shift suggests that Virginia is becoming a more contested battleground, and the Harris campaign will need to ramp up its efforts to ensure it doesn't slip away. Several factors contribute to this tightening race. Notably, the political landscape in Virginia is changing. In 2021, Republicans managed to secure the governorship in a surprising upset, which reinvigorated the Republican base and highlighted the vulnerability of Democrats in the state. While Harris is still predicted to win Virginia, the significantly reduced margin compared to Biden's performance is alarming for Democrats. Virginia is currently categorized as likely blue, but the shrinking lead indicates that the Democratic Party needs to be on high alert. Even traditionally safe states can turn into fierce battlegrounds, and Virginia is a prime example of this phenomenon. Now let's transition to Colorado and New Mexico, two states that were solid wins for Biden in 2020. Biden triumphed in Colorado by a remarkable 14 points and secured New Mexico by approximately 11 points, providing Democrats with a sense of confidence that these states were secure. Other projections suggest that Kamala Harris might not match Biden's success in either state. It's anticipated that her margins of victory could shrink to less than 7 points. This trend is troubling as it shows that Harris faces an uphill battle in areas that were once considered strongholds for the Democratic Party. But before we get into the details, hit the subscribe button, like this video, and leave your thoughts in the comments. Thank you for your support. These narrowing margins indicate a larger issue for Harris. She is struggling to resonate with some voters who previously supported Biden. The decreased leads in both Colorado and New Mexico highlight the challenges facing her campaign. Although these states are still leaning Democratic, the fact that Harris's anticipated victories could be significantly narrower than Biden's raises questions about the stability of the Democratic coalition. If the party is to maintain its dominance in these states, Harris will have to engage and mobilize voters effectively. Next, we turn our attention to Minnesota, a state that is essential for Harris's hopes of reaching the required 270 electoral votes. Minnesota is a Democratic bastion, having voted for the Democratic candidate in every presidential election since 1972. However, the state has become more competitive in recent years. In 2016, Trump nearly flipped Minnesota, losing to Hillary Clinton by just 1.5, which sent shockwaves through the Democratic establishment. In 2020, Biden managed to win the state by a more comfortable 7-point margin, but that still didn't reflect the strength Democrats once had. Heading into 2024, securing Minnesota is a top priority for Kamala Harris. She has made a strategic decision by selecting Minnesota Governor Tim Walz as her running mate, which could bolster her chances significantly. Walz's popularity among Minnesota voters provides Harris with a crucial local advantage, making it imperative for her campaign to hold on to the state. Without Walz on the ticket, Harris could be in serious jeopardy of losing Minnesota. Even with him as her running mate, projections indicate that her victory margin is likely to be narrower than Biden's 7-point win in 2020. Minnesota is essential for Harris, as it would not only keep her electoral count higher, but also solidify her appeal among Democrats in a state that has historically supported their candidates. While currently categorized as likely blue, the prospect of a tighter race signals a vulnerability for the Democratic campaign. Losing Minnesota would be a significant setback for Harris, raising alarms about the overall health of the Democratic coalition in the Midwest. As we analyze the current electoral landscape, we see that after looking at Virginia, Colorado, New Mexico, and Minnesota, Kamala Harris is projected to start with 226 electoral votes. While this is a solid base, it's far from the 270 needed for victory. To clinch the presidency, Harris will have to focus on a handful of key battleground states that will ultimately determine the outcome of the election. Now let's shift gears and delve into Donald Trump's territory on the electoral map. We'll explore some states categorized as likely red. First on our list is Maine's 2nd Congressional District. Maine stands out because it splits its electoral votes by congressional district rather than awarding all of them to the statewide winner. Trump has won this district in both 2016 and 2020, and he's expected to carry it again in 2024. How it only contributes a single electoral vote in such a tightly contested election. Every vote truly counts. Currently, this district is classified as likely red, reinforcing Trump's position. Next, we have Alaska and South Carolina, 2 states that have consistently leaned Republican. Alaska has been a solid Republican state in presidential elections since 1964, and despite some speculation about it becoming more competitive, Trump is projected to win it comfortably again. South Carolina, while historically a Republican stronghold, may not be as firmly in Trump's column as it once was. Nevertheless, he is still favored to win there, and this state contributes to Trump's overall total. Together, these 2 states provide 12 crucial electoral votes that bolster Trump's chances in the race. Let's move further into the Midwest, where we find 2 states, Ohio and Iowa, that have shifted towards solid Republican status in recent elections. Both states voted for Barack Obama in 2012, but they flipped to Trump in 2016 and remained with him in 2020. Trump's victories in both states were by substantial margins, and while some predictions suggested Biden might make gains, Trump's support has remained strong. Heading into the 2024 election, Trump is again favored to win both Ohio and Iowa, which are classified as likely red. Together, these states contribute 18 electoral votes to his overall total, further solidifying his path to victory. Now, let's pivot to the Sun Belt, where 2 massive battlegrounds, Texas and Florida, play pivotal roles in the electoral calculus. These 2 states, with a combined 70 electoral votes, are vital for any Republican candidate. Trump carried both states in the 2020 election, winning Texas by about 6 points and Florida by 3. However, the political dynamics in these states have evolved since 2016. In Texas, Trump's lead has shrunk somewhat, but he remains favored to win. Meanwhile, in Florida, Trump is expected to expand his margins compared to 2020, with some projections suggesting he could win by as much as 7 points. This would represent a significant increase compared to his previous performance. Both Texas and Florida leaning red, Trump is positioning himself strongly as he inches closer to that all-important 270-vote threshold. At this juncture in our analysis, Donald Trump's projected electoral vote total stands at 219, just 7 votes shy of Harris. This tight race sets the stage for a high-stakes showdown as the remaining battleground states will ultimately determine who walks away victorious. Now let's discuss the remaining battleground states, classified as tilt and lean states, which are where the race becomes even more competitive. 2 of these states, Arizona and Georgia, are leaning in Trump's favor. Arizona, which flipped blue in 2020, saw Joe Biden win by a razor-thin margin of just 0.31. This win was significant, as it marked the first time since 1996 that a Democrat had carried the state. However, current projections suggest that Trump has a 66% chance of reclaiming Arizona in 2024, as his lead in the polls has increased, causing Arizona to shift from toss-up to lean red. Georgia is another state that turned blue in 2020, with Biden's narrow victory being a watershed moment for Democrats. With its historical significance, Georgia hasn't voted for a Democratic presidential candidate since 1992. Currently, Trump leads in Georgia with a 63% chance of winning, and it is also classified as lean red. The competition in both Arizona and Georgia indicates that Trump is making gains in states that were once thought to be safely in the Democratic camp. Finally, we have the 5 states categorized as tilt states: Nevada, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, and Michigan. These states are critical in determining the election's outcome and are expected to be extremely close, starting with Nevada, which has leaned Democratic in presidential elections since 2004. Kamala Harris is currently favored to hold on to the state, but Trump is not far behind, making it a potential battleground. For now, Nevada is classified as tilt blue, but the closeness of the race means it could swing either way. North Carolina is essential for Trump's strategy. He has successfully carried the state in both the last 2 elections, and projections indicate he's poised to win it again in 2024. North Carolina has shown a tendency to lean Republican, and it's classified as tilt red. The outcome in North Carolina will be pivotal for Trump, bringing closer to the 270 electoral votes he needs to secure victory. Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, and Michigan represent the final key battlegrounds. These states were instrumental in Trump's success in 2016, but he lost them to Biden in 2020. Currently, Trump is leading in Pennsylvania, which carries 19 electoral votes. Winning the state would significantly boost his electoral total and likely put him over the 270 vote threshold. Wisconsin and Michigan are also critical, with both candidates polling closely. Although Harris may have a slight edge in some forecasts, Trump remains a formidable competitor in both states. In summary, the current electoral projections paint a picture of a competitive race, with Donald Trump appearing to be on a trajectory toward victory with an estimated 281 electoral votes compared to Kamala Harris's projected 257. This forecast suggests a narrow yet decisive win for Trump, but with several weeks left until Election Day, the battle is far from over. Both campaigns will be intensely focused on the critical battleground states, as every single vote will matter in this tightly contested election. So, as we look ahead, keep your eyes peeled on these key states, because anything can happen between now and November. Thank you for joining me today for this in-depth analysis. If you found this breakdown informative, please remember to comment, and subscribe for more insights and coverage on the 2024 election. Keep following along and stay tuned for updates as we get closer to Election Day.